quietness. Can you hear it? Do you mind if I shut the fan off? It's bothering me. How you doing tonight, okay? I'm back. Was that fast or what? Okay, look guys. Tonight we have a great show for you. And this is absolutely Johnny I Spy. And I'm here once again to get you high just by telling you why. It's not time to cry or sigh, but it's time to try and fly, okay? And here we have tonight, everyone's talking about it. Who's going to do what, and why is Donald Trump wanting to run and spend all this hard-earned time and energy to be the President of the United States once again? Donald's an open man. He's got an ascendant. Holy cow, look at him. He's got an ascendant of 29 degrees Leo. And then he has a Mars of 26 degrees Leo. Why does this 26 number keep on coming up, everybody? Just having some of that herbal magic tea so I don't dry out on you. I hope I didn't slurp too much. But look, guys, here we go. This is what I have for you, okay? This is what I absolutely have for you tonight. Are you ready? Are you ready for it? Here we go. Look at Trump's chart, okay? He has ascendant of 29:57 minutes Leo. It's like his hair is Leo, but he really wants to be a Virgo, right? He's 3 minutes from being a Virgo. And he's got that Virgo first house. So this is where this Mercurian power comes about, right? This, because he's got this, it's his sun, it's his sun. It's really funny how the sun works this way and how it's positioned in the zodiac. On one side by the moon, and then on the other side by Mercury, and then finally by Venus. You got her with the and you know what it is? I'm going to tell you what it is. Because technically, most of the time, Mercury is actually closer to us than Venus. Venus, my fault. Yeah, Mercury is absolutely closer to us than Venus most of the time. And we have to recognize this fact when we look at the house of Leo and then seeing that the moon is one side, because the moon would be our nighttime water luminary, right? That's that Cancer house. And then the Cancer house wakes up to the sunlight, right? Which is the sun. It's the other luminary. And then we have Mercury, the communicator, the trader. And then we have Venus, the value of the trade, right? So we have to make sure that we know this part. Did you hear me drink? I'm putting the cup down now. Now look. So when we look at Donald Trump's chart and seeing that, they get that Leo ascendant, then again, we have to take the chart of the United States, right? We have to take this chart of the United States. Can I zoom it up here? Okay, now look at this. Because we have to see how the two charts fit together right off with the sun, okay? The U.S.'s sun is at 13 degrees Cancer, okay? Now, look where that sun would be in Donald Trump's chart, right? Because this is the reason why he's, the president guy. Because he's got that 11th house. In the 11th house, he has that Saturn. Right? He has Saturn in the 11th house. Just like me. I have an 11th house Saturn as well. And then you look at it, right in between that 23 degrees and that 8 degrees where Mercury is, when we look at the U.S.'s chart, is where we find the U.S.'s sun, right between his Mercury and his Saturn, okay? In that Uranus house, okay? This is wise. But the big part about all of this is what you can't, get away from is that 5th house Pallas Athena, right? Look here, you got the chart, you got the little, he's right there, 11 degrees, that little asteroid is. And we have to look at that. That is a major league connector. That's the connector planet, but he's that's where the Saturn, that's where the composite chart is. That's where the U.S.'s sun is, right between his Saturn and Mercury. Okay, and then you look at the Pluto. He's got a Pluto at 10 degrees Leo, right? And then he's got a Mars at 26 degrees. And when you look for that 10-degree mark, look at this. The U.S. has a Saturn, so he's got his Pluto will be sextile. His Pluto would actually be sextile the U.S. is Saturn in Libra at 14 degrees, right? That's the strongest identification tag for that Pluto. If you go look for another 10, then there's the, see, this is that funny thing about that semi-sextile angle, which it's not supposed to be that important, but it keeps on popping up with that semi-sextile of Pluto is with the U.S.'s sun in Cancer. All right, you catch my drift, and his Pluto is like conjunct my Jupiter, right? That's another correlation, right? His moon is actually semi-sextile my Neptune, but his moon is 21 degrees. His moon is not quite squared my, well, it would be squared my moon, right? But his moon would be actually squared my Uranus. That's what I'm trying to say. And my Pluto as well. But look where the nodes are. Okay. Look where his part of fortune is at Aquarius. So when you look right now, his series would be right there at 13 degrees Aquarius, right? His series would be opposed my Jupiter. I actually have it like a series at like 6 degrees. Is that what the series is? Yeah, it's absolutely series. And status is retrograde, right? See if you find his Uranus is direct and fast. Sun's always direct, right? Directed but slow. Sun's moving slowly in Gemini, right? And then Mercury's direct and fast. Saturn is direct and fast. And then Venus is direct and fast. Okay? But that 25, his Venus is actually trine my moon, okay? See how it's important to know, it's very important to know all your placements of your chart. So when you look at anyone, you don't have to have that, you don't have to bring that chart up, and I could just say that, and when you go and look through my playlist, you can see where my charts are actually listed. So when we look at his chart, we have to say, okay, we have to look at the Sagittarius ascendant, okay? At 12 degrees. Or no, this is the Declaration of Independence. Actually, I got this wrong. I have to change this around. This is not, we don't want a solar return chart here. Let me go back here to natal chart. Just natal. Okay, and show chart. My fault, guys. Holy cow, I almost messed up the entire podcast. Okay, so here we go. Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1976, in Philadelphia, where I went to university, at 5:10 p.m., puts Sagittarius at 12 degrees. I went to university in Philadelphia, so with the Declaration of Independence being 12 degrees, that would be trine my Jupiter, 12 degrees, right? Being Leo, right? And then so we can see that connection with my chart, right? So now we're going to go at it right here. We clearly can see how the planets line up. We see why Donald has been president of the United States and what he's gone through. Because look where his Pallas Athena, right? Look where that Pallas Athena is. But look at again, his moon is at Sagittarius, right? He's got 21-degree moon at Sagittarius, which is like 21 back or 12 backwards. Like that, look at that. It's 21, 12, and then 12, 21. Do you see the comical little jokes the father likes to play if you know numerology today? Because here's 12, 21, and then the ascendant for, you're gonna love this. The ascendant for for the U.S. is 1221, right? And his moon is 2112. Doesn't the Father love to talk to you? And remember, it's all about moon timing. And remember, I'm a moon of Pisces, so my moon is naturally in affinity with the sign Pisces. That's why I'm coming to you today, right? Okay, so here we go. I mean, look at his vista. His vista is conjunct my moon, right? Isn't that funny? There's no coincidences here. You know, when you're talking to me. Okay, so what we're gonna do here, guys, I got a good show for you tonight. I'm gonna just bring this down and move it over. Alright, and then we're gonna move this to another window here. Move to new window. And that's where we be. We'll just close this one like so. Now, this is the cat's magic, okay? Let's bring up the 3 charts. Okay, we're bringing this up to 3 charts. Donald Trump on the inside. He's the inside ring, okay? We've been looking at his chart with, beforehand. Now, on the outside ring is midnight of, as we see here, it's 12 a.m. of the presidential election, right? We know how events are. What do you get nervous for? You gotta have an event coming up. Something happens within a 24-hour time period, and then the sharp point of that event happens at one particular time during that day, right? So for him, we'll see how this day, President-elect 2024, we wanted to, before we start the races, guys, before we start the races for the chart, we're going to look at the date, how the chart sits, okay? Because, as you know, the Tuesday always changes, right? And Tuesday is ruled by Mars, remember? We got that days of the week thing happening for us. Tuesday is ruled by Mars, okay? He's got the elect day is the 5th day of November, which and the sun is 13 degrees Scorpio, which would be trine my Mercury, which is my ruling planet being a Gemini ascendant. It's trine my Mercury, which is at 13 degrees odd minutes of Cancer, okay? So there's that connection. But most importantly, look at the Juno here. The Juno is actually 0 degrees. 0 degrees Juno is conjunct my Mars, okay? One-on-one relationships. Mars, daily work for me. My Mars is in my 6th house of daily work, and my Mars in Scorpio, but in the Virgo house, right? Mars in Scorpio, the world is a chaotic nightmare, right? And you've been pre-selected to help and assist turn things around, okay? We can't outrun the planets, folks. We're on the Earth. Now look at this one. This one right here is actually Hades, okay? Look where Hades is. Hades is in retrograde status, okay? Hades is in retrograde status, and what is he doing? First off, he's going to be conjunct my Mercury, but also he's going to be conjunct the U.S.'s sun, all right? This is where we're doing elite triple black diamond astrology. Diamondback astrology, how's that? Here we go. And to connect it and make it all even that much more interesting is, see, Donald is an ascendant of 29 degrees Leo. The ascendant starts off the day at 22 degrees Leo. But most importantly, look at Mars entering at Leo. Let's tag it. Mars is slow. It's in direct slow motion in Leo, right? Look at that. Is he getting ready? Is he coming out of retrograde? I think so. I think he does go retrograde this year, or at the end of the year. I'll have to look exactly what date, but we're going to look at this now, guys. Here we are. This is it. We're going to go to the races because it's 24 hours. Within 24 hours, we'll know. And let's see what the planets actually say. Let's see how they line up to Donald's planets for this day, right? Because it's very interesting, because look at this. In Donald's chart, right? In his chart, in his natal chart, his moon is in Sagittarius, right? And with the beginning of the 5th of November, with the beginning of the 5th of November at midnight, the moon being at 24 degrees, it means that Donald, that day before, has just started his new lunar cycle, right? The moon is out. The moon's at home in his moon sign, right? So like he's just finished a 28-day. He's just finished a 28-day cycle, and on this election day, starting with the election day, because that's what we're gonna watch. We're gonna be able to get a good. We're gonna watch this progress. I got the. I should put this at like 1 minute here, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna watch the moon move for 24 hours because it's all about moon timing, right? And as I said, he's just starting this new 28-day lunar cycle, and the moon would be like it's that semi-sextile thing coming up again, but he's moving into a sex. The moons are going to be moving into a sextile when it gets into Capricorn, but the moon won't travel that far. I mean, will the moon travel 10 degrees in a day? It's very possible. Let's find out. This is how we have to know. If we know how fast the moon is traveling per hour, we always know where the moon timing is. If we know where that moon timing is, we're always prepared for the next day, you know? It's where this saying comes from. Never put off for tomorrow what we can do today, right? Because we know about that moon timing. We know the moon will dish out more stuff for us to do tomorrow. Okay, so here we go, folks. Let's wander up and watch her go. And we're going to see where the moon ends up. Because it's 24 degrees, right? It's a very important thing because it's in Sagittarius. For a Leo ascendant, it's in this 4th house thing, but it's going to be moving into Donald's. It's going to be moving in Donald's 5th house, but it's a very interesting chart because the day starts off just 7 degrees. The day starts off with Leo in its last decant before it actually conjoins. You know, we're going to see what time of day that is. We're going to see how that day is happening. We're going to look at those numbers and figure out, look at how that day is going and what kind of day is Donald having for the presidential elect. Okay, here we go. This is it. We're gonna get a trailer of all of it right here with Johnny I Spy. Aren't we just spies today? You'd be like a spy like me and go a farther way. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. It's 11:15, and time is king. Okay, so it's moving, right? Look at the ascendant is actually moving here. The moon is absolutely traveling. How fast are we? Oh, actually, you know what? We gotta do this again. Stop. How did that actually happen? It's supposed to be 1 minute. I was like, holy cow, I can't keep up. It's not supposed to be that fast. Okay, select. See, and this is how you get a preview of how this works. We get this started. This is the 5. Holy cow, we're already. I mean, I couldn't even put in my prediction for that one. See, this is how you work this thing. You put this back at the beginning. It's AM. So now you just get then you calculate it, right? So we're back where we started. Okay, 1 minute. Holy cow! Let's go. You want to go 45 seconds? Let's go 45 seconds. A little slower. Okay, 45 seconds. Maybe that's what it was. I accidentally when I was gonna go. No, that's not what it was. Okay. It's all good. This way you get to see how to set it up there. So now we're going to push that. We're going to push that go button. Isn't that much easier in the eyes? Holy cow. My eyes were having an eye attack, right? Okay, so here we are. The day's progressing, all right? Time is on the outside ring here. Unfortunately, it goes under and I can't see this, but we're in the AM still. That's too bad that's like that, but oh well, that's how it works. But we're in the AM. The ascendant's moving along here. And remember, as the ascendant moves along, it's touching his planets, right? It's We're cruising by here. We're looking at 12 degrees right now, so it's going over its Chiron. It's going over its Juno. Now it's going over its Jupiter. So it's going over Jupiter at something a.m. I'm so unhappy that we can't see that time. Oh, here it is. Here's the time here. We're at 5 a.m., right? So we're at 5 a.m., Capitol Hill. I mean, this is, Donald Trump standing at Capitol Hill. This is where he wants to be. 7 a.m., where are we looking at here? The ascendant has just moved over the sun. And where are we at with his chart? We are moving in. The ascendant is at Sagittarius. Now the ascendant is going to be going by his node and his moon, right? This is coming up 21 degrees. That would be at 10 a.m. So big popular moment. Mark that 10 a.m. moment. And that's what you want to do when you're looking at the chart, when you're looking at that day, you're watching the news. Now the ascendant, here goes ascendant again. It's going over his Pallas Athena, right? So that'd be like noon or something like this. It's at night. It's in Aquarius now. So now it's opposing. It's opposed. Look how fast the ascendant is going, eh? Because it opposed to Mars. Here it is. The ascendant is now opposite his Mars, and that would have been like around 1 o'clock, right? And what time is it now? It's 3 p.m., right? Because what we have to do, we have to make it all the way to 12 p.m., right? And where's that moon? The moon's only crawled. Remember, the moon's fastest planet, right? So the moon's gone 3 degrees, right? So we're going to see exactly how that moon is lining up and that moon timing, right? Because the moon is mortality, and it's our daily, it's not exactly our daily crap, but our moods actually move with it. It's in a Virgo, though. See, being in a Virgo, this moon is actually sitting trine to his natal ascendant, sort of. Like, in the first house, it's trine to his first house. And this is his fifth house creativity. Here's the ascendant here. It's 8 p.m., so we're already coming up to it, eh? We're going over his Mercury. Here's 17 degrees. So his ascendant is coming up to Saturn, his planet of fate, his taskmaster in the 11th house. And look, here's the sun just crossing over Mars at 10, coming up to 11 o'clock, right? So that would have been like 10 o'clock that happened. And the ascendant is coming up. We're getting ready to shut it down here. 18 degrees, 22 degrees. And yeah, that's it. We're in the next day. So the moon wouldn't travel that far. But what we'll do here, we'll edit the chart and we'll just pull that back to 12 a.m. Johnny was talking too much. Calculate. So the day ends, right? The 6th. The 6th, November 6th. The moon ends at 7 degrees Capricorn, okay? So when we look at that 7 degrees Capricorn moon, it's in the first of Capricorn. It's in that. When you look at the U.S.'s chart, the moon would be opposing their Jupiter, right? The moon, during this race and everything, and during this time period, that moon would be opposing the U.S.'s Venus at 3 degrees, and then the moon would be opposed Jupiter at 5 degrees. Well, and this is, if we want to go back and look at that and see where that actually is and how that hooks up with Donald's chart, because he's a sun in a Gemini, so naturally, look how his Mercury is, right? The moon will be absolutely opposed perfectly, right? Near perfectly. His Mercury is 8 degrees 51 minutes, and the moon, when the day is over, would be Virgo, right? Moon in Virgo, or moon in Capricorn. My fault. In the 5th house, ruled by the sun, right? It's a 5th house thing, right? So, and he's got that Leo. he's got that Leo rulership, that Leo sun, or like his Leo ascendant. That's what he is with the Gemini sun at 22 degrees. And you want to, when you look at that start, when you look at the start of the day, where is the moon? The moon's at 24 degrees Sagittarius. The moon and his natal moon are like because he's born very close to the full moon, right? When you look at his chart, see, sun at 22 degrees, he's born, and then moon at 21 degrees, right? Remember when we made that joke before? 12 and 21, yeah, and then 12 and 21, remember that? And then we come back to the third house, and remember that Pallas Athena thing, right? And here's that moon progressed, and look, it's gone from his fourth house. The moon has progressed from his natal fourth house into his fifth house, hanging out with his Pallas Athena, but most importantly, opposing the U.S.'s Venus and Jupiter, and then its sun. So it's very possible. I mean, you want to think about it. If you want to look at this partnership, it's a very possible chart for a partnership with Donald Trump and the U.S. But we will be able to look at that day. We have this chart right now, and we'll be able to tag all the actuals, right? Because there's everyone predicting this and that, but these are the planetary actuals, and we can see how the partnership wants to be, and how the man wants to, help turn his country around. Look at the sun. I mean, look at Mars. As I said before, it takes 33 hours for Mars to move to 1 degree of the zodiac, right? And he's in slow motion right now, right? He's in slow motion right now. So in 24 hours, he's done. He's at 40 minutes. You can see that, and that's very important because of that Leo. Because that Mars is that 12th house, right? He wants to go into that. He's right there on the cusp of that 12th house of Donald's ascendant, right? That 12th house. Leaving that house of community. And but most importantly, folks, this is the magic of the whole chart. Look how Pluto for the chart, right? When you look at Pluto for the chart, you look at this. Pluto's still hanging out in that Aquarius thing, right? Direct fast. Or not Aquarius thing, but it's November 6, 2024, and he's still got stuff going on in Capricorn, right? He doesn't. He must have just come out of. He must have just come out of retrograde again, right? I'll have to go back and look see where he goes into retrograde and see how far because he doesn't go back too far. Like you see, it's 47 minutes on this new retrograde. He doesn't go back too far into that Capricorn line, right? All right, guys, folks, thanks a lot for holding on to the race here, and I hope you learned something new today. This chart's going to be up. We're going to see how it actually goes because look how the moon's traveled, and look how it's in favor with his ascendant. Because remember, he's 29 degrees 57 minutes Leo, but 3 more minutes. That's a Virgo rising, right? And you can look at Madonna as a Virgo rising. You can look at Donald Trump as a Virgo rising, but Madonna is a different type of Virgo rising. I think she's a Virgo Capricorn rising. I would have to take a look at that to count. We'll bring that chart up soon. But this is the chart that we're all looking at. I mean, we have to look at this guy because this guy wants to be president. And the chart is the reason why he's so favorable in the polls is because his planets are very favorable to the time, right? All the best to you, and over out. I'll see you tomorrow.